guys, and welcome back to my channel, Michelle Gay Science Teacher. In today's video, we're going to be looking at salt and pepper. We're going to look at the physical properties of salt and pepper, the size, the shape, the texture, the odor, the color, the volume, the density, the mass, and we're going to see if we can identify these properties using various tools. If you're interested in this type of video, then keep watching. If you're new to my channel, hit the subscribe button. But if you've been here for a while, thank you for joining my family and continue to support me in getting science out to kids everywhere. I really appreciate you being part of this family. We're going to first start off with engage. I want you to look at this picture and observe. Tell me, what exactly is in this picture? Leave it in the comments below. Look very carefully at this picture. Look at the shape, look at the size, look at the color, look at the texture of the things that are in this picture. Do you know exactly what it is? Then let's look at this next part. If you said that this was salt and pepper, then you are correct. This was a picture that was magnified to the millionth place, and it was taken, and then we could see it under a microscope to exactly see up close how they're shaped. If you notice in this picture, salt has a crystallized look and it has cube shape, whereas the pepper has a tan look and it has these jagged shapes. These are the two physical properties of pepper and salt. Our next part, we're going to look at how these two can be separated. Well, I told my husband to bring me some salt and pepper. Well, I thought he was going to bring me the containers, but he brought me salt and pepper in a bag mixed together. It is our job today to work together and see if we can separate these two using different tools. Do you think you're up for the job today? I hope so, because I need your help. Before we start though, some safety is involved. With salt and pepper, even though it is edible, this is not an edible lab. You are not to taste this in any way. Also, when you're using your tools, be careful in the separation. If you're getting close to the pepper or you touch it, do not put your hands on your face or your eyes, because pepper can sting and burn. Also, when you're using a tool, do not put it directly in someone else's face when you're separating the salt and pepper. You need to wear goggles for this one or some type of glasses so that it does not get in your eyes. All right, you got the safety part. So let's look at the materials we're going to use for this experiment. The materials you will need for this experiment, the tools will be tweezers, balloons, a spoon, plastic spoon, a straw, magnifying lens. You will need a coffee filter or paper towels will work. You need salt and pepper, you need water, and you need clear cups. Now, let's get ready to do part one. First, we're going to look at, take some of the salt and pepper out and put on our paper towel. And I want you to use your lens and make observations of each one. Write down every physical property or everything you observe about the salt in one category and the pepper in the other category. Carefully look and talk with someone, your partner, your teacher, or your parents, and write down everything you observed with the salt and pepper. As you observe, you will notice the jagged shapes. If you carefully look, you will see the crystals of the salt. You will also notice various colors of the pepper. Write down each color that you see. Now that you've observed, we're going to test out our tools to see which is effective and which is ineffective. Like which one really works. Not all tools work to separate the salt and pepper. We want it separated. So first we're going to test out the straw. And I'm going to gently blow . To see if I can get the pepper separated from the salt. Well, let's look at this. What do you think? Do you think this tool is effective? A good way to separate the salt from the pepper? Write down your observation after you have completed this. Our next tool we're going to test out is a tweezer. Now, if you don't have this type of tweezer, any type of tweezer will work. Now, with the tweezer, we have to carefully pick the salt and pepper apart and see if we can separate. So I'm going to mix this up again. All right, so let's see. Now, while you're testing out, what do you think? What do you think about these tweezers? Do you think this is a timely way to do this? Will it take us a long time to separate or not? Are you picking up salt at the same time you're picking up pepper? Okay, what do you think about this tool? If you're not through, keep going. Let me know, do you think if this tool is effective or ineffective? Is this a good tool that we should be using to separate the salt and pepper? Okay, now the next one we're going to look at, we're going to try out the balloon. So with the first one, when we used the straw, we were separating by blowing based on the size and the shape. That was the property we were looking at. And the same thing with the tweezers. We were looking at the size and the shape in order to separate. Now we're going to use the balloon. Do you know which property we're using to separate using the balloon? I'm going to blow this balloon up and then charge it. Let's see if I can get it charged. Remember, a charge is just rubbing one object against the other. We got a little salt. Let's see if I can charge it again. Now, with your balloon, you can rub it against your hair, your shirt. Oh, there we go. All right, so you see the salt? This actually works. It begins to separate the salt and the pepper. There's pepper on here also. And so it does separate some, but do you think this is effective or not? Try one more time. All right, we got some more. And guess what, guys? It is picking up that pepper. So it's definitely separated, and then you just shake it off to the next part you want. All right, so this property is an electrical charge. Okay, so now we've tested the tweezers, balloon, the straw. Let's try water. So we're going to pour water in our cup. We're going to add the salt and pepper mixture to see if it separates. One more spoon. All right, let's look. Now, let's observe. If you notice, the pepper is floating to the top and the salt is doing what? Floating to the bottom. But what does salt do when it's in water? It dissolves. That's correct. The salt will begin to dissolve in the water. And we call this property solubility. The ability of a substance to dissolve in water easily. And if it doesn't dissolve easily, then it's insoluble. All right, we're also looking at density property here because the pepper separated and went to the top. So we have density and solubility. That is the physical property we're looking at using water. And so when you think of solubility and you think of things like sand, you think of rocks, they're not soluble. They will not dissolve in water. And then, but when we think of sugar, we know that sugar is soluble because it does dissolve in water. All right. In this video, you see that the raccoon, he has cotton candy. And every time he tries to get that cotton candy wet, because they like to wet their food, it dissolves. This is solubility. Cotton candy is easily to dissolve in water. Let's see if he tries again, or she. Oh, disappeared again. Let's see what happens now. All right, he decided, nope, I'm not going to put it in water this time. Okay, and our last test we're going to try and use either paper towel or a coffee filter. Let's try the paper towel. So with this one, you will need it would be good if you kind of put it this way and put a rubber band around it to hold it. We're just going to scoop some. Now, what do you think is going to happen with this one? Let's take a little of this off. Okay, so let's get our water. We're going to pour just a little bit at a time. Okay, you can see the water is going through. Now, what is occurring when I'm pouring the water over the salt and pepper and the filter? What what are you observing when you're testing this out? What's left at the top of the paper towel? The pepper. What happened to the salt in this? Of course, we're back to solubility again. The salt is dissolving as the water goes through in the water, and our filter has pepper left at the top. Now, is filtering an effective tool or ineffective? I want you, after you finish testing this one, and you can try it again, I want you to rate the tools 1 to 5. 1 being the least effective and 5 being effective. And so you're going to rate your straw, where you're blowing, balloon using the electrical charge, your tweezers, your filtering, and then pouring in the water your density and solubility. Some real-life applications for this experiment include filtration. Filtration is the one when we use the cup and we put the paper towel on top, and then we put that salt and pepper on and poured the water. And when we observed, we noticed that the pepper stayed on top. Well, we use filtration when we make coffee. And so when I take every morning I make my coffee, I put a coffee filter in my pot, and then I pour the grinds, put the grinds in, and then the water, and then the coffee pot processes it, and when it's ready, I have a good clean cup of coffee that I can enjoy for that morning without having coffee grinds, and that's based on filtration. Another one is recycling. You know, we have recycling going on. We have process centers, and what they do, they put everything on a like a wide band, and then they the materials go down this band, and then they're sorted and separated based on size, shape, and what they're made of. Another one is panning gold. When panning gold, it's based on the density of the density, and it's based on the size of the gold. So those are just 3 examples, but what I want you to do is see if you can find some other examples on the internet that's based on physical properties and separating things using physical properties. And it could use, you know, density, it could use shape and size, it could use boiling point, it could use melting point, it could use what's another one we did? Electrical charge even. So those are some things that you can look into. I'm going to leave a link for a worksheet that students can use with this experiment. Also, if you would like to try some other things and set up stations in your room once they complete this and extend this lesson, you can do a mixture of, you know, sugar and sand and have them separate and see which physical properties are used. They could separate oil and water, and which properties do they use. One of the things that I did not, one of the tools I did not use during the experiment was the spoon. And so the spoon is actually a tool that can be used to separate the salt and pepper, and it can be used to separate other mixtures also. I enjoyed this experiment today, and I hope you did also. If you're not subscribed to my channel, I would love for you to subscribe and join my YouTube family. Also, if you're interested in learning more about the experiment that I did, then go to the website You Be the Chemist, and I will leave that link below, and you can download their activity guides for free. Well, thank you again for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Have a wonderful and blessed day. See you soon.